My poll numbers have been like the highest. I was in Dallas the other night. We set a record in a stadium. I don't know. It's got to be an arena that's got to be 20 years old. We have a record. We had thousands of people outside watching on big screens. They've never seen anything like that. And it's that way at every place. 2 races that were going to be lost. I went in, made a speech, let everybody know I really respect these 2 guys and they're going to be great. They both won. They both won by good margins. They both won. So I think the public is seeing it, actually. I've done more in 500 days than any president has ever done in their first 500 days.
Putin did call me a genius.
I'm smarter than they are. I'm richer than they are.
People would say I'm the super genius of all. I got a standing ovation. In fact, they said it was the biggest standing ovation since Peyton Manning had won the Super Bowl, and they said it was equal.
I'm a little jealous. Are you giving him all the credit? You know, that means the end of his job, you know.
Did you know I was #1 on Facebook? And I just found out I'm #1 on Facebook. I thought that was very nice for whatever it means. No, it represents something.
Ago, facing COVID-19, which is a death sentence for a lot of people.
Look at the way I've been treated lately, especially by the media. No politician in history, and I say this with great surety, has been treated worse or more unfairly.
I've heard the one person, it used to be 5 or 6, now it's down to 1, Honest Abe Lincoln. They say he got the worst press of anybody. I say I dispute it.
I think American people recognize that we must keep government open, that a shutdown is not worth anything, and that you should not have a Trump shutdown. You have the White House, a Trump shutdown. You have the White House, you have the Senate, you have the House of Representatives, you have the votes. You should pass it right now.
No, we don't have the votes, Nancy, because in the Senate we need 60 votes.
No, but in the House,
and we don't have.
You could bring it up right now today.
Excuse me, but I can't get it passed in the House if it's not going to pass in the Senate. I don't want to waste time.
Well, the fact is, the House Republicans could bring up this bill, if they had the votes, immediately and set the tone for what you want.
If we thought we were going to get it passed in the Senate, Nancy, we would do it immediately. We'd get it passed very easily in the House.
Yeah,
we would get it, Nancy, I'd have it passed in 2 seconds. It doesn't matter, though, because we can't get it passed in the Senate because we need 10 Democrat votes.
But the fact is that legislating, which is what we do,
right.
You begin, you make your point, you state your case. That's what the House Republicans could do if they had the votes. But there are no votes in the House, a majority of votes, for a wall, no matter where you start.
Right. If I needed the votes for the wall in the House, I would have them in one session, would be done.
The Washington Post today gave you a whole lot of Pinocchios because they say you constantly misstate how much the wall is built, how much of the wall is built, and how much is there. But that's not the point here. We have a disagreement about the wall, whether it's effective or not. Not on border security, but on the wall. We do not want to shut down the government. You were called 20 times to shut down the government. You say, I want to shut down the government. We don't. We want to come to an agreement. If we can't come to an agreement, we have solutions that will pass the House and Senate right now and will not shut down the government, and that's what we're urging you to do. Not threaten to shut down the government,
You don't want to shut down the government,
because you can't get your way.
The last time you shut it down, you got
We
killed.
have a proposal that Democrats and Republicans will support to do a CR that will not shut down the government. We urge you to take
And
it.
if it's not good border security, I
It
won't
is
take
very
it.
good border
And if it's
security.
not good
That's
border
what the
security,
border
I won't take
security
it.
Maryland and other states, Governor Larry Hogan specifically said they've seen a spike in people using disinfectant after your comments last week. I know you said they were sarcastic.
I
but
can't
do you
imagine why. I can't imagine why. Yeah.
take any responsibility?
No,
if
I
someone
don't.
were
No,
to
I
die?
can't imagine. I can't imagine that.
President,
Yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Fauci said earlier this week that the lag in testing was, in fact, a failing. Do you take responsibility for that?
Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all because we were given a set of circumstances and we were given rules, regulations, and specifications from a different time. Wasn't meant for this kind of an event with the kind of numbers that we're talking about.
There are also a lot of questions about the phone call you received from President Trump. I know you were in a car to the airport. Tell us what happened next.
He called Master Sergeant Neil's phone. I asked Master Sergeant Neil to put his phone on speaker so my aunt and uncle could hear as well. And he goes on to saying his statement as what he said was...
The president.
Yes, the president said that he knew what he signed up for, but it hurts anyways. It made me cry because I was very angry at the tone of his voice and how he said it. Like he couldn't remember my husband's name. The only way he remembered my husband's name because he told me he had my husband report in front of him. And that's when he actually said, La David. I heard him stumbling on trying to remember my husband's name. And that what hurt me the most because if my husband is out here fighting for our country and he risks his life for our country, why can't you remember his name?
What did you say to the president?
I didn't say anything. I just listened.
But you were upset when you got off the phone.
Oh, very, very upset and
You
hurt.
receive a call from President Trump. Tell us how that conversation went.
It went quite interesting. One of the first things he said to me was that he heard that I was a big fan of his and that he was a big fan of mine, and he was just trying to console me and let me know that everything was going to be okay. He then commenced to call the shooter a sick puppy and probably used the word, oh boy, probably a solid 8 times. I can't say that I was consoled or helped.
You didn't feel well. What do you have any idea what gave him the impression that you were a big fan of his, as he said to you?
I'm not quite sure. It's not like we've had any prior engagements to that phone call, so maybe it was just an assumption.
You know, it was interesting, and I know you expressed some surprise that he brought up the shooter in the conversation in light of what you went through. How did that part of the conversation go?
I don't think he's ever had to have that conversation with someone before, and it was definitely clear in that moment because he didn't express any real empathy, but it's kind of hard to express empathy when you don't understand. You
told one of my colleagues before this interview that you've never been so unimpressed by a person in your life. I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable position, but what were your emotions as you said that and experienced that?
It's just that when you go through a very traumatic experience such as this one, you have to be very delicate in the way that you phrase your words to people, and I don't feel that he took any caution or any regard for what I was going through, and that kind of hurt my feelings.
I am a victim
of one of the great political smear campaigns in the history of our country. They are coming after me to try and destroy what is considered by even them the greatest movement in the history of our country. There's never been anything like this. It's a shame that your president has had to go through this. No president should ever have to go through this again. And if you lose, they're going to say Trump suffered the greatest defeat in the history of the world. This was the greatest. You can't let that happen to me.
President Trump is showing no sign he's done attacking Senator John McCain, who died 7 months ago with brain cancer.
So I have to be honest, I've never, John McCain, received a fake and phony dossier. Do you hear about the dossier? It was paid for by crooked Hillary Clinton. Didn't get the job done for our great vets and the VA, and they knew it.
The crowd listened in silence as Trump told them he never got a thank you for authorizing the use of an Air Force jet to transfer McCain's casket for his memorial service.
I gave him the kind of funeral that he wanted, which as president I had to approve. I don't care about this. I didn't get thank you. That's okay. We sent him on the way, but I wasn't a fan of John McCain. Not my kind of guy, but some people like him, and I think that's great. I think we have every single endorsement, even New York's finest, New York City's finest. We love our finest. Is the mic ready? Yes. I wonder who did that to our mic. I believe it was Joe. You know who it was? Crooked Hillary. Must have.
The President of the United States, retweeting a video on Twitter that shows him hitting a golf ball and then the golf ball striking Hillary Clinton and knocking her down. You see it there. The President of the United States retweeted that this morning. Why?
At a conference of religious conservatives today, Donald Trump sparred with CBS pollster Frank Luntz over Senator John McCain.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Trump didn't stop there. He also questioned McCain's intelligence.
I said he graduated last or second to last. He graduated last in his class at Annapolis. And he was upset. I said, why, for telling the truth? See, you're not supposed to say that somebody graduated last or second to last in their class, because you're supposed to be like Frank says, very nice.
I'm a very stable genius.
I tell you, the one that matters is me. I'm the only one that matters.
Obviously, I'm doing pretty well. I'm #1 in every polls by a lot. I've made billions and billions of dollars. Everything I've done virtually has been a tremendous success. I've made a tremendous amount of money in Atlantic City. I'm a businessman, did really well, and I can do that, and I'm not sure that anybody else in the group will be able to do that. I never went bankrupt, by the way, as you know, everybody knows. People are very, very impressed with what I've done to business people. I went to #1, and you went down the tubes. I promise, if I wanted it, I would have gotten it. I could have double and triple what he's got. I've turned down, last week, $5 million. I would get along with a lot of the world leaders. Nobody has control of me other than the people of this country. I've made over $10 billion. I will have the finest team that anybody's put together.
Mr. Trump?
Humble.